going on? I posted something on Instagram just asking for more topic ideas, and you guys did not disappoint. I've written down all the topic ideas that you guys gave me. I am going to put them in a list, and then I'm going to post them on Instagram probably today, and I'm going to let you guys vote on what the next video is. However, I had some time today, and I saw one of the questions, and I was like, ooh, I can knock that out real quick. So here's just a bonus video, and I think this one will just be kind of more fun than anything else. The question was, should Christians watch Game of Thrones? So for those of you who don't know anything about Game of Thrones, maybe just like look up highlights from Game of Thrones on YouTube, watch it, and then come back. Basically, Game of Thrones has a lot of sex, it has a lot of violence, it has a lot of just obscure stuff. It has a lot of things that would make good old Southern Bible Belt homeschooling pastor's wife Christian moms like faint or have heart attacks. And I figured I could just knock this out. I'll say this right up front. I watch Game of Thrones. I hate medieval stuff. I hate like dragons and armor and I hate it. I've never been into like fantasy. I've never been into like old medieval type. It's just not my thing. I've always hated it. I've never watched anything like it. I've never read stuff like it. It's not my thing. So for years, I would always talk crap to my friends because they were like, oh, Game of Thrones, blah, blah, blah. Like they were reading the books and watching the show. And I'm like, you guys are so it's stupid, dude, it's stupid. And then finally, I had this buddy at the tattoo shop I worked at in Florida, and he was like, look, go home, watch like 2 or 3 episodes, and then if you still hate it, then come and tell me I was wrong. So I went home, I started watching it, and then I just didn't stop watching it. I watched like all 7 seasons in probably 3 weeks, 2 weeks. It was so intelligently written. The drama is so good. It was a really well done show. It was really well done. But anybody who knows me knows I really don't like watching TV or anything like that, movies, whatever, where there's nudity or even like women that are dressed down. It just makes me uncomfortable. It's always made me uncomfortable. I'll always like look away if that comes on TV. So that's something I have always struggled with Game of Thrones, because it's not like normal TV sex scenes or stuff like that. Like, it's pretty bad. It's pretty graphic. They show women completely nude, like the whole 9 yards. So when that does come on, I do just look away. Like I'll play on my phone or do something else until the scene's over. And that's me knowing that I don't like this. So I'm going to take myself away from it until the thing that I don't like goes away. I don't think that just because it has these parts of something that I don't like or I don't think is healthy for me or good for me, I don't think that that's a reason to not watch it at all. That's my personal opinion. I know myself well enough to know, okay, I can stop watching it, I can play on my phone. As soon as I hear that the scenes are over, I can start looking again. That doesn't impact me negatively, it doesn't affect me, so it's no harm, no foul. So the question was, should Christians watch Game of Thrones? The question should be, should you watch Game of Thrones? Does violence really bother you? Do you get seriously bothered by violence? Then yeah, don't watch it. There's a lot of violence and it's pretty graphic. Do you get tempted when you see women who are nude or dressed down on TV? Is that something that's going to prompt you to go watch porn or to cheat on your spouse or just to have thoughts or whatever? Is that going to impact you negatively? Is it going to affect your psyche or your life? Well, then you shouldn't watch at least those parts. But if you aren't like me, where you can just turn away and then look back, and that genuinely does not affect me in any sort of way. If you're not like that, and you're going to think about it afterward, even if you do look away, or it's going to bother you, or it's going to push you to go watch porn or whatever, then you shouldn't watch the show. You shouldn't. That doesn't mean other Christians shouldn't. Because just because you struggle with if nude women come on TV, that pushes you to fall into this bad cycle. Just because that happens with you doesn't mean you can tell me that I shouldn't watch it, because I can just look away and I'm fine. People who, have an affinity towards violence, people who are fueled by violence, people who take delight in watching violence or hearing violent things, people like that, yeah, you shouldn't watch the show because it's going to tempt you, it's going to feed you in a negative way, so you need to know yourself well enough to remove yourself from it. But again, just because that is a fact for you does not mean you can go tell other Christians who don't have that problem that they can't watch it because it's violent. That's not something they struggle with. Now, on all this same note, is watching Game of Thrones in any way beneficial to the Christian? Or really, is it beneficial to a human being at all? Well, no. I mean, they're not teaching good values. They're not teaching good morals. It's not like positive educational information that you're taking in, you're soaking up, and then you're pushing back into your life and the people around you. There's really no good lessons to learn from it. There's really no positivity that could come from it besides just, the enjoyment of watching a good television program. It's like, are there better things you could be doing with your time? Better for your psyche? Better just in general? Yeah, there's a million better things that you could be doing. But those same people, those same Christians who tell other Christians, oh, you can't watch Game of Thrones, it's so bad, blah, 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 are the same Christians who are doing something else, watching something else, reading something else, engaging in something else that is just as bad. It's just you have a different perspective on that than you do on Game of Thrones. Whereas the Christian who watches Game of Thrones might look at the thing that you do that's not good and is like, whoa, that's fucking crazy. None of us are perfect, Christian or otherwise. None of us are engaging in only wholesome, good, educational, Christian stuff. We all pick and choose which things are okay for us as Christians, which things aren't okay, and then the things that we don't deem as okay from our perspective, our worldview, we automatically push that on every other Christian and say, well, because I view it this way, you guys have to view it that way. But it's just not true. If Game of Thrones negatively impacts your life or the people around you, then you shouldn't watch Game of Thrones. That doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or not. However, if it doesn't negatively impact you or your life or the people around you, then whatever, watch Game of Thrones. But again, are there better things you could be doing? Hell yeah. Does that mean you have to? No. Does it mean any other Christians can talk shit to you because you choose to watch Game of Thrones? No. It's like those same Christians who are talking trash to other Christians who are watching Game of Thrones. They're like writing all this hateful stuff online, and then 2 hours later, they're like in their bedroom with the door locked and they're watching porn. And you're just sitting over here like, it's a good show. It's a great show. It's a really, really, really good show. I'm always so impressed with this show. Do I feel guilty when I watch it at all? No, I don't. But that's because I know the one thing that I don't like, which is the nudity. I have the self-control, the wherewithal, the understanding of my own issues, my own morals, and my beliefs and my values that I can sit there and I can do something else until it goes away. And then I can come back. And then I'm fine. And that's just to be clear, my issue with nudity on TV and stuff like that isn't because of like a porn issue, or it really has nothing to do with lust or anything sexual. I don't like the fact that we blast women's bodies on TV. It genuinely bothers me because I believe we've set this different standard for what is okay to be public of women. And I don't like it. I don't like it. But will I ever go tell any other Christian man or woman that they shouldn't watch something because it has nudity? Or if I'm with people watching Game of Thrones and I see that the other men I'm with aren't looking away when the sex scenes and stuff come on, I'm not going to say anything to them. Their morals and their values are theirs. Now, if one of them I know has an issue with porn or with lust or whatever, and he doesn't look away, and we have the relationship, we have the rapport, that later I can go up to him and be like, hey, I saw that you were pretty into watching that. How you doing? Are you okay? Do you need to talk? Do you need me to steal your laptop for a couple of days? But it's a totally different scenario. And it still would never be me saying, hey, you can't watch that. All right, that's pretty much it. I think I covered all the really meaningful, big stuff. I gave you my opinion. Take it or leave it. I don't really care. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up button. If you're not subscribed, consider doing that also. And if you have a problem with anything I said, or you just want to add to it, or you want to argue with me, or whatever, do it in the comments. I love you guys. This stuff is always fun. I'm really glad to be back.